Welcome back. Today we're mixing things up a bit and I'm sharing how to make avocado buttercream. So this buttercream is delicious. I know it sounds crazy, but instead of butter, we're going to be using avocado as our fat base. To kick this recipe off, I'm starting with one ripe avocado, which I've cut in half, carefully removed the seed from using a knife, and then spooned out of its peel using a spoon. So once I added both halves in, this is just one medium avocado, I added it into my mixing bowl and began to mix to break down the avocado meat. So I switched to using a whisk attachment because I realized the paddle attachment was not getting the job done. And I paused partway through just to scrape down the sides of the bowl and to make sure the avocado really got kind of mashed up. I then added the juice of half of a lemon and mixed this a little bit more to get it as smooth as possible. And then it's time to add in the powdered sugar. So for this, since we're using about a cup of avocado meat or fat, if you think about the ratios of normal American buttercream, you're going to have 2 cups of powdered sugar for every half cup of fat. So to this cup of avocado, I'm going to be adding 4 cups of powdered sugar. So as I'm doing this, I'm scraping down the sides to make sure all of the ingredients really get incorporated and that there's no powdered sugar kind of stuck to the sides of the bowl. This recipe is a little bit more difficult to get really smooth and incorporated, so take breaks and be sure to scrape down the sides of the bowl and the bottom of the bowl as you do this. The other thing to note is that while this recipe does have quite a bit of powdered sugar, you really do need to add all of that to get the buttercream to a thick enough consistency to use. So you can see that it's still pretty fluid, and if you cut back on the amount of sugar you use, it's going to be so thin, so just keep that in mind as you're making the frosting. While you can add this between cake layers, I still recommend piping a dam of a thicker frosting like a classic American buttercream or a Swiss meringue buttercream around it just to really make sure it stays in place between the layers. I also don't recommend piping with this buttercream the way it is. If you want to pipe it onto cupcakes or pipe swirls onto a cake, I recommend mixing it in equal parts with classic American buttercream to help make it a little bit thicker and easier to pipe. So this is me adding just the plain avocado buttercream between cake layers, and as you can see, it's definitely thinner than my normal buttercream. So once I added that to the cake, I realized that and was like, wow, I'm going to pipe a dam around this. And I'm so happy that I did. It really did stay in place and it cut really well, but without piping that dam, I think it would have been an oozing mess. I also want to show you what the avocado buttercream looks like when it is mixed with half regular buttercream. So here it is. You can see the color is quite a bit lighter, but it also is much thicker and was much easier to work with. So if you are adding it to a cake and you're worried about the consistency or you want to add it to the outside of a cake, I really do recommend going half and half with regular buttercream. Just makes it so much easier to work with. As you guys can see, it spreads like a dream. So the reason I made this frosting was for a chocolate avocado cake. So if you guys want to check out the full video of me making that cake, you can click the link in the upper right corner. Otherwise, I hope that you guys try this recipe out, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to click the like button.